In this video, I'm going to be giving you rapid advice for your podcast that I wish someone would have told me earlier. No fluff, no motivation, no bullshit. We're going to get into it right now, and this is going to be strategies in 2026 that's going to make your podcast a client acquisition machine. But first, why should you listen to me? I've been podcasting for almost a decade now. I've been where all the top professionals have been. I've been with SiriusXM, iHeart. I'm currently with Spotify. You can check out the SiriusXM article, which was written about me and my podcast. Also, I have a school community where I help 100 plus podcasters like yourself monetize and build authority in their podcast by helping them convert 5 to 7 high ticket clients every month using their podcast as a client acquisition machine. Here's the community right here. You can join this. And we have some really cool bonuses. We have a 6-week roadmap to help you go from zero to monetization in 6 weeks. We also have a 500 sponsor master list that I put together. These are 500 companies that are looking to help you and sponsor your podcast so you can start sponsoring your podcast a lot sooner than I did. And also, on top of that, I'm here. I'm trying to help. So I'm going to be giving as much value as I can. I'm giving you as much. I'm putting you guys on game. Let's be calling a spade. I'm putting you guys on game, and I'm going to give you guys a lot of value. This video is probably going to be one of the shorter ones. I am under the weather, but I'm still going to be over here so I can help out my fellow podcasters. So let's get into it right now. Let's go into our rapid fire advice, and we're going to start out with this. Most podcasts don't fail because they're bad. They fail because they are unclear. The clearer you get with your message, they're going to want to listen, because when you bring a horse to the water, you throw him to the water, but you can't teach him how to drink. The horse needs to learn how to drink. But if you brought him to the water with the clear instructions on how to drink, it makes it a whole lot easier, right? So with that being said, let's get into advice number 1. If your podcast doesn't have a clear outcome, it's not a podcast. It's content noise. Your podcast needs a clear outcome. What is the reason for this episode? What is the reason for your show? Why do you want listeners to listen? And what is the next step for your listeners? You need to be clear with your message and your mission statement, and it needs to be obvious to the listener who this podcast is for and why I should listen to this podcast. Number 2, downloads don't pay you, positioning does. I've been in a position where I've had hundreds of thousands of downloads, and I've been in a position where I had millions of downloads, and I can tell you this right now, the downloads is not what pays me. The sponsorships and the ad revenue, it could pay you. It's nice, but it's not what pays you. The main thing that will pay you is positioning. As a coach in 2026, when you position your podcast as a expert, when you are the expert of your field, when you position it with authority, you're going to get more high ticket clients wanting to work with you one-on-one. And that is how you truly monetize your podcast. Number 3, if listeners can't explain what your podcast helps them do, you're not positioned as the expert. Just like I talked about in number 2, you want to build a authority. You want to be positioned as the expert. You want to be the go-to person when someone needs to know about the niche that you're talking about. When someone needs to know any information about that, they go to you. That's how you position yourself as the expert. You can't just talk in what ifs. You can't talk in opinions. You have to be positioned as the expert. So, for example, a fitness coach, he can't say, oh, well, I think if you cut calories, then maybe. No, you have to stand tall. You have to stand on your mission statement, and you have to say, if you follow this, this is what's going to bring you the results. This is how it works. This is what you do. Authority. Number 4, stop starting episodes with your name, credentials. Start with the problem that you solve. And I talk about this. It's the hook. The hook is so important. It is very important to have a hook that really shows the problem and then talks about how you're going to solve it in the episode. If you start an episode by saying, let's say, hi, this is Edwin, and you're listening to another episode of Building Authority. Is that as impactful as most coaches don't know how to build authority with their podcast? By the end of this episode, you would know exactly what steps to take to build authority with your niche. Hi, my name is Edwin, and yada, yada, yada. See how I positioned it? So the listeners right away in the first 5 seconds know, okay, this episode is going to be about coaching, building authority, and how to get there a lot easier. Number 5, your podcast intro should earn attention, not waste it. Same thing with the hook. What are you doing in your intro to really set the tone of the episode? Remember, first impressions are everything. You don't get a second chance at a first impression. As cliche as that is, it is 100% true. So why not really hook your listener right from the start? Why not really grasp them in that first impression? You really want to make sure that you set the tone. You have to earn their attention. They don't have to listen to you. Your listeners don't have to listen to you. You don't have to listen to anything. There's so many forms of media that they could go click on YouTube and watch something. They could go on Instagram and doom scroll. They could do whatever. They could go watch TV. They don't have to take their time to listen to your podcast. You have to earn that attention. Number 6, one episode, one idea, one takeaway. Anything else kills retention. I talk about this so often. You have to make sure that your podcast is clear, concise, and make sure it is a nice, seamless way to go from beginning, middle, and end. If you have so many different topics that you talk about on the same episode, it's going to get all clunky. It's going to become too hard to really follow. And if you have one idea that you could bring them through a beginning, middle, and end, if you could answer a question that is solved on that podcast, then that is how you build retention. That is how you build a following. That is how you build your clientele. Number 7, if every episode doesn't lead somewhere, you're training people to do nothing. The CTA. What is the next clear step? I always talk about this. After you have someone listen to your podcast episode, it has to feel natural for them to go take that next step. So if the next step is one-on-one coaching, then lead them to one-on-one coaching. If the next step is to follow you on Instagram, lead them to your Instagram. Lead them to your school community. Lead them to wherever you want the next destination to be, but you have to lead them there. You cannot just be so vague. Follow me or follow me on social media. You have to lead your listeners to exactly where you want them to go after your podcast finishes. Number 8, interviewing people bigger than you does not make you bigger. Leading the conversation does. Now, I've seen this so many times where someone gets a big name guest on their show and they really start to get overwhelmed, or they let the guest take over the show, and it is not a good look. Not at all. This is your podcast. That's your guest. No matter how big they are, no matter what their net worth is, you have to take control because this is your show. You got to steer the ship. You have to drive the car of your episode, of your show, and the guest has to play the role of the guest. The guest cannot come on and just totally take over. It also shows more authority in your own episodes and your own podcast when you're able to take authority of your show, when you're able to steer an episode, even with a guest that is a bigger name than you or with a bigger net worth. I know a lot of people are so scared to talk, or they let the guest really take over. Not what you want to do. You want to make sure that you could have the conversation. You could be, polite, but you have to make sure that you are in control of the podcast. If you are afraid to sell, your audience will never see you as a leader. Number 10, you have to get out of this mind frame of, oh, well, I don't want to sell them anything. Here's the thing. Being a salesman is a part of life. It's a part of anything. You having a podcast, trying to get listeners, even if there's not monetary gain, you're selling yourself to your listeners so they could repay you in their attention. You have to sell something at one point of your life. If you want to be, scared to sell people, then this is not the game for you. You have to be a salesman. And that's the harsh truth. It's the harsh reality. You're a salesman. You are trying to earn their attention. You're trying to earn their listenership. And then from there, you can take it to the next level. You're trying to earn them as a client. You're trying to earn them as a customer. You're trying to earn them as a download. You have to find a way to get out of this, I'm scared to sell, or I don't want to sell my listeners on anything. You already are. You already are. If you are already podcasting, you're trying to sell yourself as someone that they should take the time to listen to, then you're already selling. Number 11, your podcast should make the right people feel seen and the wrong people feel excluded. This is why I'm talking about niching down and making sure that you're talking to your perfect avatar. You're talking to your ideal ICP. You're talking to the person that you want to work with, the type of person that will listen to your show and find the great value out of it. You don't care about the million downloads. You care about the individual person that is listening, because it takes one person to hear your show and want to take it to the next level and work with you. And you could have 1 million downloads and not one person want to work with you. It is important that you're talking to the ideal person in every episode. When you go back, you listen to your episodes and say, hey, is this episode really speaking to my ideal client right now? Is this episode really relating to my ideal client right now? These are questions that you should ask yourself before releasing your episode. Number 12, consistency without strategy is just repetition. All these people that say, oh, well, consistency, show up when you don't want to show up when you're sick. I'm sick right now, right? I really feel sick right now, but I'm still showing up. You know why? Because I want to remain consistent. But if I'm remaining consistent without the proper framework, without the proper strategy, then showing up every day means nothing. You know why? Because if you're not doing something that is working, then why do you continue doing it? They say the definition of insanity is doing the same actions and expecting different results. It's the same thing here. If being consistent still gets you nowhere, then you still got to switch it up. Being consistent with a strategy, being consistent with framework, being consistent with structure, that's how you build momentum, and that's how you build your clientele. Number 13, we're getting to the end of the list here. Number 13, short form content finds people. Your podcast converts them. You have to make reels. You will be surprised how many people I work with. And they say, hey, I love doing the podcast, but I hate the promotion. I love doing the podcast, but I hate making little clips and reels and shorts. I love doing the podcast, but I don't want to promote on social media. If you don't grab their attention outside of a podcast app, the odds are they're not going to find you by just discovering on Spotify, on Apple. There are studies that show that most podcasts are discovered on social media, even though you can't have a full episode of your podcast on social media. So what does that mean? You have to promote on social media. Get in the habit of sound bites, making sure that your episodes have sound bites that you could then clip as reels and shorts to promote on social media that will then have the listener check you out on social media, check out the video, and then want to play your full episode. You have to do it. It is 2026. Social media is here and it's going to not go anywhere. You have to promote. And the best way to promote your podcast is short form media. Reels, shorts, TikToks. You got to do it. Number 14, if your podcast can't generate clients with 100 listeners, it won't with 10,000. I stand by this so much. Everybody is so focused on vanity metrics, how many views, how many downloads, how many impressions, how many listens. If it doesn't generate clients with 100, it's not going to generate clients with 10,000, because if it takes one person, if your ideal listener is a part of that first 100 people, then they will want to pay for your coaching. If they're not, they're never going to pay for your coaching. Hell, you could have one episode that gets one listen. If that one listener is your ideal client, that one download just paid you, because they'll want to work with you, and it only took one person to do it. So make sure that you're positioning your podcast to talk to your ideal customer. And number 15, last but not least, authority is built by clarity, not volume. It doesn't matter if you're 5,000 episodes in. I know people are like, oh, well, I'm the expert because I have done, 400 episodes. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have 10,000 downloads. It doesn't matter if you have 1 million downloads. 1 million downloads, 600 episodes, none of that matters. What matters is you're building clarity. It takes one podcast episode to speak to your ideal customers, and that is what's going to get you paid, not 10,000 downloads, not, oh, I have 600 episodes. You have to stop worrying about the metrics and start worrying about the content, the framework, and your ideal customer. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining today. I really appreciate this. I know this was more rapid fire. I'm extremely under the weather right now, but I wanted to make sure I put out an episode today. Thank you so much for joining. If you would like to work with me, if you would like to be a part of this school community like I showed you here, get the 500 sponsor master sheet, get the one-on-one coaching, the 6-week podcast roadmap. If you would like to be a part of it, then make sure you book a call. The calendar is going to be inside of the comments and in the description. Book a call. Get on the call with me. We'll talk about your podcast. We'll come up with a strategy and we'll work together one-on-one. And I can't wait to help you build your clientele to 5 to 7 high-ticket coaching clients every single month through your podcast. I love you all. I'll catch you on the next video here with Podcast Auto Lab. This is Edwin. Bye-bye.